Greetings. Welcome to the Voice of Cheryl. I am Toothless Tiger. The views and opinions expressed in my videos are strictly mine and are not the views of YouTube and or its sponsors. All of the facts spoken by me can be verified or disproved through self-research of documents available through the Library of Congress or state and local libraries. And please note that laws differ from state to state, as each state has its own constitution. The information shared in this video is for educational and research purposes, and I will be doing some readings under the Fair Use section of the 1976 Copyright Act. I wanted to share some information with you all on some things that I had discovered on my path to knowing who we were before we were slaves. I am a student of Grand Sheik Taj Tariq Bey, who can be seen on the House of Reawakening Minds. And the knowledge that I've acquired and the duty and responsibility that I was given for obtaining this knowledge, I want to help share in the uplifting of a fallen humanity. Mainly our people, because we don't know who we are. And because of that ignorance of not knowing who we are, then we're treated in a way that's unexplainable. You know, you have questions, but no one seems to have the answer or the answers. And I found someone who told me something I had never heard before. I've listened to many scholars, taken copious notes. But when I heard Grand Sheik say that our birthright was stolen, our identity was traded, that gave me a sense of belonging for some reason. Just hearing those words, hearing that black is not an identity, it is truly an adjective and a description of something or someone or some place. Sounds like a description of a noun. Well, we were known as Christian chattel, while everyone else were known as human beings. But what he taught me in my research affirmed what he was teaching, I should say, is I know that I am Asiatic, Moorish American, and I am proud to know that. Although I live in conditions that are deplorable, we no longer have communities. We used to have neighborhoods. Now we just have hoods. And Dick Gregory used to say, you know, you wear a hoodie to hide something. And that's kind of the way that we're living. And I know that we are a good people, an honorable people. But in the condition in which we live, it seems we have no choice. But I come to tell you that we do have a choice. if you're willing to put in the work. Grand Sheik give us keys. And I'm taking what I learned and what I'm still studying and sharing with you my journey in hopes that it will spark a flame and ignite something in you that make you want to take the same path. A nation divided against itself will not stand. We've seen evidence of that for 530 years, although I've only been here 63 in this life. But I know if we work as an army of one, each individual working toward the same goal, one of the things we must do as Moorish Americans is nationalize. And Grand Sheik doesn't give you the pathway to do that because he knows we have to know this information for ourselves. He gives us keys. And our research, if we're diligent, will give us the answer that we seek. And then we must take the action. I learned a long time ago about the you factor. And you is including me. But if you don't do it, it's not going to happen for you. Oh yeah, there are some people who are lucky and people do things for them. But then they have to wonder, is there an ulterior motive? Are they doing this because they love me? Or because they need something from me? But if you do it yourself, I guarantee you, you won't have those questions. So, I had to get, well, I should say I had to go back in time. You know how when I used to go to church, you ask somebody to go to church with you and they say, I'm not ready yet. But when I get ready, I'll call you. I'll go with you when I get ready. The time is now to get ready. And when I went back in time, I went back to the Punic Wars. You got to go back and you got to leave anything that you think you know about history here in America. You got to go to the world history. And then you got to have a law book with you. Because history and law must be studied together so that you can have the right concepts. I prefer the Henry Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, 5th edition, 6th edition, 7th and 8th editions. I've purchased them all. But when you go back in time and you go to the Punic Wars of 146 BC to 264 BC, you find out that the wars was about, were about Christians fighting Muslims. That's what the wars are all about. And we're taught every day freedom of religion, the right to choose. Well, the Constitution was formed on fatwa, which is Muslim law. Muslim meaning fetus, not the creed. Fetus, the human body. That's why it's a constitution, the constitution of man. Aligns with our bodies. And then they should align in harmony with nature. And if you're out of harmony with nature, then you're in chaos. And I got so tired of chaos. Something had to be better than what I was being told. After you left the Crusades, and I don't even know if I said them yet, Pope Urban II November 27th, 1095, ordered the first Crusades. It was 7 wars, and it lasted to 1291. And then in 1478, 1834, the Spanish Inquisition. And I beg to differ with that 1834, because now we're faced with the silent weapons doctrine. And what you come to know, that these doctrines are one and the same. They're just different time periods. Hear me out. Pope Innocent III issued the Secret Treaty of Verona, October the 3rd, 1213. Pope Boniface the 8th issued Unum Sanctum policies, November 18, 1302. And Pope Alexander the 6th issued the Doctrine of Discovery, Inter Caetera, May 4th, 1493. I want to read from you right now so that you can kind of get an understanding on the education system. You know, we cry about the education system, and we don't like the public education system, but it appears that we're not doing anything about it. But perhaps if you understood the philosophy behind it, established by J.D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates, names sound familiar? Well, listen to their philosophy on educating our children that lives on today. In our dreams, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. The present education conventions fade from their minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk. We should not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or men of science. We have not to raise up from among them authors, editors, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we have an ample supply. The task we set before ourselves is very simple, as well as a very beautiful one: to train these people as we find them to a perfectly ideal life just where they are. So we will organize our children and teach them to do in a perfect way the things their fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way, in the homes, in the shops, and on the farm. On the farm, that reminds you of something: animal husbandry, docility training for animals, public school system. We got to get involved. And if you're like me, if you don't feel that you could teach your child, then get them help. Buy books. Now they have the computer, whatever program they can use to assist them. If you can afford it, get a tutor or ask a family member. We gotta help our babies. But we missed out on so much. It's so much that we didn't learn. So we don't even know how and where to help. But if we know they come to us and say something that we don't understand, then that's when we can pinpoint, I got to get you some help. You know, we used to hear our parents say that they wanted our lives better than theirs. They really had that dream, and they really had that hope, and they put forth every effort to make that be. But we were under the same system that they were under. So we have doctors, and we have scientists, and we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have all of those things. But we still are the same docile animals. And a change has got to take place. The Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the half has not been told. If I tell you everything, it'll put you back to sleep. And what we're here to do is to wake you up and help you understand, overstand, and understand that there is a way out. And you don't have to shoot not one bullet. You don't have to slit not no anything. You don't have to do anything that is harmful to another person other than get to know you. Self, man, know thyself. And then take our proper place in society. And we need to get back into the honor of our ancient mothers and fathers. Our ancestors gave their lives so that we could have this moment in time. And I want to help you find the freedom that I've found through the knowledge of self. The title of this is Stolen Energy. Energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of the sources and control of natural energy. And social science, theoretically expressed as economics, is the study of the sources and control of social energy. Both are bookkeeping systems. Mathematics. Therefore, mathematics is the primary energy science, and the bookkeeper can be king if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. Does that remind you of anything? Kind of sound like voting? Isn't it funny they have to go every 25 years to see if we have the right to vote? We, the people that are named, tagged Negro, Black, Colored, African American, Afro-American, nigger, Indian, Puerto Rican, Mexican, all of those people who are indigenous to this land. Morocco, the Empire of Morocco sits here at North Amexem, and that's where we are. North Amexem. Let's go a little more. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge. The end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue. Who will be the beneficiary? In 1954, this was the issue of primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised, in view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. So silently they're saying that we're in the hopeless conditions that we're in by choice. I remember somebody said that, Kanye West, and the community was upset. The hood was angry. And consent. Let me go further. Consequently, In the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, which is the wealth, of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. This concept was never more than a questionable theory of elitist Charles Darwin. In conclusion, the objective of economic research as conducted by the magnates of capital, banking in parentheses, and the industries of commodities, goods in parentheses, and services, is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable and manipulatable. In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of society must be brought under total control, i.e., must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age, before they have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the government establishment of operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. And they kick the fathers out of the homes, and the mothers have to work. And the children, orphaned. They came up with a term for it, latchkey. Pretty much rearing themselves. And we wonder why. Just one aspect, one thought, I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the moat of ignorance, isolating the inferior class from the superior class, is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extricating themselves from their assigned lot in life. This form of slavery is essential to maintain some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Now, that's what they're doing with energy, our energy. Let's go on. Descriptive introduction of the silent weapon. Everything that is expected from an ordinary weapon is expected from a silent weapon by its creators, but only in its own manner of functioning. It shoots situations instead of bullets, propelled by data processing instead of chemical reaction, parentheses explosion, originating from bits of data instead of grains of gunpowder, from a computer instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, cause no obvious physical or mental injuries, and does not obviously interfere with anyone's daily social life. Yet, it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with the daily social life, i.e., unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. The public cannot comprehend this weapon, and therefore cannot believe that they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon. The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but that is because of the technical nature of the silent weapon. They cannot express their feelings in a rational way or handle the problem with intelligence. Therefore, they do not know how to cry for help and do not know how to associate with others to defend themselves against it. When a silent weapon is applied, gradually, the public adapts to its presence, and learns to tolerate its encroachment on their lives until the pressure, parentheses, psychological via economic, becomes too great and they crack up. Therefore, the silent weapon is a type of biological warfare. It attacks the vitality, options, and mobility of the individuals of a society by knowing, understanding, manipulating, and attacking their sources of natural and social energy and their physical, mental, and emotional strengths and weaknesses. Whew, that was pretty deep. To hear how that weapon works. We know it's not Casper, the friendly ghost. I shall continue. Diversion, the primary strategy. Experience has prevent that the simplest method of securing a silent weapon and gaining control of the public is to keep the public undisciplined and ignorant of the basic system principles on the one hand, while keeping them confused, disorganized, and distracted with matters of no real importance on the other hand. This is achieved by disengaging their minds, sabotaging their mental activities, providing a low-quality program of public education in mathematics, logic, systems design, and economics, and discouraging technical creativity. Engaging their emotions, increasing their self-indulgence, and their indulgence in emotional and physical activities by unrelenting emotional affrontations and attacks, mental and emotional rape, by way of constant barrage of sex, violence, and wars in the media, especially the TV and the newspapers, giving them what they desire in excess, junk food for thought, and depriving them of what they really need. Rewriting history and law, subjecting the public to the deviant creation, thus being able to shift their thinking from personal needs to highly fabricated outside priorities. These preclude their interest in and discovery of the silent weapons of social automation technology. What about them games? What about Facebook? What about YouTube? What about YouTube? I'm glad I'm here. You know, we say that we don't like the news that we see every day on the regular stations, because everything seems to be just one way. And this is a media opportunity of a lifetime to be able to share with so many people in just one conversation. And I don't know if we use it that way. I know that when I first came to YouTube, I had a thirst. I had a hunger. I wanted to know. Something had to be different than what I've been taught my whole life. I didn't know what it was, didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I was hungry. This silent weapon system and the diversion, the primary strategy, we see it so prevalent in our community. But as more and more of us get hungry, we're going to come together and we're going to make a difference. And we're going to do it individually, independent thinking, using our own minds, knowing that ignorance of the law is no excuse. Isn't that something? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But we're forbidden to discuss law with anybody, to learn law. Oh, they don't say it out loud. It's another one of those silent weapons. But we learn by reading, if we know how to read. And I've come to know we're so far away from knowing how to read because we were not given the basics in the 3rd grade when we should have gotten this information. I know you hear me say the same things in all videos, and you will continue to hear that because repetition strengthens and confirms. Faith comes naturally. Unless I am repetitively telling you something wrong, then, destruction may come. But it is my desire to tell you something that will lift you. It is so sad how we don't know. I had never heard of etymology, the etymon. I had never heard of the origin of a word. Now that may sound like, where has she been? Right here in Dallas, Texas. Just never heard of it. Not in one school that I attended. Morphology, chronology. Never put them with linguistics. Never did. Vowels, all vowels are interchangeable. We weren't taught that. And if we were, perhaps I forgot in my 63 years, but nah, I don't recall it. I do remember we used to have the big books, the encyclopedias and the dictionaries, and people tell you to get rid of them. But all Asiatic Americans should have a library in their home. It's a must. For our baby's sake, it's a must. As I get ready to conclude, I'm going to read the last little segment of the book for today. It ends like this. The general rule is that there is a profit in confusion. The more confusion, the more profit. Therefore, the best approach is to create problems and then offer solutions. In the diversion summary, you start with the media. Keep the adult public attention diverted away from the real social issues and captivated by matters of no real importance. Schools, keep the young public ignorant of real mathematics, real economics, real law, and real history. Isn't that strange? What did I say? History and law must be studied together in order for you to have the proper concept. Entertainment. Keep the public entertainment below a 6th grade level. If that's what the game's all about. 6th grade level. Last but not least, work. Keep the public busy with no time to think. Back on the farm with the other animals. Back to that animal husbandry. Herd mentality. Yeah. We see it every day. We don't know what it is. We can't explain it. We know it's not right. We know it feels funny. But that's what it is. Silent weapons for quiet wars. I hope that I said something that will help somebody today. I want to again shout out Jocelyn, because I can't remember if I did it from the beginning. If you guys only knew how long I've been putting together this video. It is unbelievable. Normally I would stop after number 3. But I said, nah, this is too important. My son always worried about his mom and want to make sure that I'm okay, especially being 63 and having, congestive heart failure and the other issues that I suffer from. And I'm the only parent that he has left. His father passed 2 years ago. But one of the things that I share with my son, my daddy taught me, if you was born to burn, you're not going to drown. Unfortunately, I don't know how I'm going to go. But I pray. And when I say pray, I mean petition. Because see, the word pray, once I started learning how vowels were interchangeable and how we've been treated for 530 years, the only pray that I can think of when I hear that word is P-R-E-Y. And we've been prayed upon long enough. And my daddy used to tell people, don't pray for me, because I don't know what you're praying. And I understand now why he said that. My dad taught us a lot of stuff. A lot of what I'm learning. But his keys, they were like keys to the suitcase. They were the little keys. He gave us a lot of wisdom, but we didn't understand how to use the knowledge that he was giving us. But he was dropping some real jewels, real diamonds he gave to us. And then my mother cemented it all with that foundation that she gave to us. And so it's been in me my whole life. I always knew I was different. But I did not understand what the difference meant. My mom used to tell me when I was a little girl, your mouth gonna get you in trouble. You talk too much. And I do talk a lot. But I didn't know that she meant being honest, integral, speaking truth to power, standing on my square. I did not know that that is what she meant. I find that most of us really don't want to take responsibility for our actions, me included in some situations. Most of us will not give a sincere and honest apology. Most of us cannot, will not do what it takes to help somebody else, no matter what it takes. And that saddens me because I remember growing up as a kid, you walk down the street, we as a people used to speak. We smiled and looked each other in the eye. Now you walk down the street, and if you see a guy, he's, to me, trying to break his neck to look the other way. Like, please don't speak to me. Please don't say nothing to me. And there was never a time when I was growing up that a man, an Asiatic man, didn't smile and acknowledge a woman, no matter what she looked like, what she smelled like, what she sounded like. They always spoke. We live in a big city, urban metroplex, and we still drive by. We used to, and when you pass somebody that you blow and wave. And even if you didn't know them, if you see people outside, you just wave at them like they did in the country. You don't do that anymore. Life is really different. It's really different. And my grandmother on my mom's side lived to be 104. And that's what I petitioned for. Longevity. And in my mind, I know my body's broken down and I have issues. But in my mind, as long as I can keep my mind, I have something to give and to offer to somebody. And I hope that my subscribers will continue to grow, and the ones that I have will continue to learn. I do have journals. I have t-shirts. I have mouse pads, coffee mugs, and cups. It's merchandise. I have line of t-shirts. They're different ones. Of course, everybody see me in the Toothless Tiger, fuck them teeth. I also have Amy's Babies, and they're pink and black. So far, that's the only color. I think if I would change anything, I would just do orange and black. And that's because of the tiger, for no other reason. My favorite colors are pink and black. But I have white t-shirts with other designs on it. I have a t-shirt stack deck collection. And what the stack deck mean is, oftentimes when we're in a situation and a European is involved, then if we mention anything about how we're being mistreated, then they go, oh, there you go with the racism card. You're playing the race card. And so my question to them would be, and it's actually a statement. The last I checked, it was 54 cards in a deck. Now the t-shirt only says part of this. I'm telling you where the meaning comes from. So if I'm playing the race card, then you're playing the other 53 stacked against me. And that's the stack deck collection. And I used all of the face cards including the two jokers. That's what makes it 54, because we know a deck of cards is 52. But I have the jokers, the ace, the king, the queen, and the jack as the one race card, and then the others stacked. And I have one for healing the wound man inside. And I love that t-shirt because it's basically speaking to women who've gone through incest. A great word they said that we can't use, the R word. I don't really quite understand that, and I haven't read every letter in mine of the community guidelines, but somewhere that feels like an infringement on a right to free speech. Seems like it should take into account the manner in which you speak of a certain word, because I hear so many other words that we use, and it seems to, get you an audience. Be that as it may, it's about us coming back to the matriarchal way of thinking, because a lot of people don't understand it is the woman that sets the government. It's the woman that gives life. It's the woman that nurtures. It's the woman that's your first teacher. And of course, social engineering put us out of whack, or I should say out of harmony, and in a whack state of being with nature. This is how I'll say it. But we don't even know who we are anymore. We do dastardly things. We say dastardly things. Lord knows I cuss like a sailor. I love it. My daddy cussed. I couldn't wait to get grown. Boy, I just couldn't wait so I could cuss. I really couldn't. And I really do. But I don't really think that probably take away from me being who I am as a woman and knowing the difference. I know some very nice, soft-spoken women that are horrible creatures, have no integrity, no honor, no compassion. I may have too much. No boundaries. So that shirt is for women, because we have to heal the little girl inside. And as our sun, attempt to heal, we have to help them. They are an extension of us, manifested as a male. And a lot of things they don't really understand. And because society has said it has to be this way or that way, we've taken our hands off of them, and we've allowed a system to tell us we don't have a need for a man. And for those of you who don't have a need or want a man that's beautiful, and I am not speaking with you, just those of us who still desire men, not many men, our own men. Yeah, I'm speaking to those women. The ones that have been hurt and abused, left alone. The ones that had to rear children, not only theirs, but their sisters and their cousins. You know the story. many of us have them. And I wish that we could just come together, being naked and not ashamed, being vulnerable and not attacked, and lift one another up, because it's going to take us women. We have the energy, that energy that they've been sapping from us all of these years, have fed their families, sent Susie to college, Jim Bob out to the pros. Just think if we use that energy for ourselves instead of being envious of one another or finding fault. We can be human. We can still, tell you, what the problem is, girl. But just think if we could come together and help one another out as moms. Especially if I'm good in something and you're good in something, and we barter, help each other out. Just think what could happen in the community. It could be much different, I bet you. I bet you it would. I want to make sure that you all know to look up jurisdiction, status, naturalization, nation, transportation, and I'd like for you to look them up in the law dictionary, because in order to really understand, and comprehend what's really going on, you got to get an idea, a concept of what jurisdiction means, because it means everything to you, and we don't even know it. But I think as women, only we can turn this thing around. Only we can. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. And it may not be today. It may not even be tomorrow or next year. But we need to start preparing for what's to come next, because something is coming next. So I think we probably need to be preparing with food and water, because the stores are getting scarce. The food prices are going up. Gasoline is almost $7, and I saw somewhere it was $7 in most places. They're about to make me stop smoking. And I don't want to give it up. I probably need to and should. I'm addicted, and I smoke. But I'm here to tell you, these prices is about to make me go to Cigarettes Anonymous. And I'm the type, if there is none, I'll make it myself. I can quit. It's that stand quit that gets me every time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this evening. I promise you, I've been making this video almost for 24 hours. But I was determined to put out a video. It's been a few days since everybody has heard from me, and I needed you to hear my voice and my message. So if you've listened this long, I greatly appreciate it. Most people don't, but that's okay, because it'll be there. And I know that, stuff comes and finds you where you are. So, you might not have a need to hear this whole tape today. But a time is going to come when you're not going to want it to end. But there is a cutoff, and I'm there. So I want to say thank you again for listening and for coming. If you would please, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Hit the like button. Leave me a comment. And share the video if you would. I ask that you share with 3 people, but if you share with 1, I'm excited about it. I greatly appreciate you. If you want to support the channel, you see where it is at the bottom. Also have my email there. If anyone wants a copy of the book, Silent Weapons, to send me an email to my email address. But I'm going to say, have a beautiful evening. Goodbye.